having had some pretty visual experiences and in meditation as well, I have had experiences also that I've noticed that not everyone's nervous system is necessarily always ready for this kind of charge. Yes. And you mentioned it earlier on that, okay, the nervous system really needs to be able to hold this charge, this frequency. Can you talk a little bit about that and some preparation people may need?
Yeah, I've been knocked unconscious, I don't know, maybe hundreds and hundreds of times. I see a flash of light, that energy goes right in my brain, and wow, it's the most blissful experience of my life. And sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't, and my body will do all kinds of crazy things because it's information coming into the body, and it's got to be able to process that frequency. So where there's energetic blocks, or there's a pathway that it can't move through, that energy is going to have its way with the body, and it's going to cause the body to do all kinds of wild and crazy things. And it's just information. I mean, and our ability, we really have two choices when this happens. I mean, from my experience anyway. When something unusual happens, people always say, oh, I want the unknown, I want the unknown. When the unknown comes, a lot of people aren't ready for it because it scares the living daylights out of them. You have one of two choices. In our brain scans, we've actually seen this. A person who gets afraid will move from that elegant state into a high beta brainwave state, a stress state, and they'll disconnect. They'll come back to their body and they'll lose the experience. Others, they relax and surrender into it, and the more you relax and surrender into it, the less you resist it, the less impedance there is, the less physiological conditions we have. So when it happens, we have to literally surrender and relax into it. And that sounds very easy because, but a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's more difficult than we think because it's a very powerful frequency. And the feeling that you have is a tremendous amount of love if you can fully surrender to it. And it's not chemical, it's electric. And you can feel it in every single cell of your body. That's the side effect of that we've seen is a biological upgrade. We've seen people's eczema, tumors, Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto syndrome, literally go away after one biological upgrade. All disease is lowering the frequency, an incoherent message. And you can say in that moment, when that latent system switches on and those microtubules start vibrating, you feel such a level of coherence and order. You feel connected to something greater that you want to have that experience again. And so then the next time you do that breath, you have more intention, you have more passion, and you're literally drawing that energy up into your brain. And literally, one woman said her brain scan was off the chart. She said, another one of these and I don't need a husband. I mean, she had so much energy in her brain, it was a full-on ecstatic experience. So people are doing it, and the side effect is that the body begins to change dramatically.
Super cool. So can you tell us this breath, or maybe an abridged version of this breath? Would you be able to leave us with a tip of some version of this breath that people can try on their own at home to maybe get a little flavor of what we're talking about here?
Yeah. If you could use the same muscles right now, contract the muscles you use for elimination, front and back, and you were to lift those muscles up, you would be lifting up your pelvic floor, your perineum. Those are the muscles we're going to use to contract the energy related to the first center. If you were to pull your abdomen in and touch your belly button to your spine, you would be contracting the second center, where you would begin to milk the energy out of the second center. If you contract your upper abdomen, now you're contracting the muscles that are related to that center. The act of inhaling through your nose while you contract those muscles, coupling those together, is the act of pulling that energy. Where do we want it to go? Right to the top of our head. So if you took your finger and you were to place it on the top of your head and work your fingernail in there, and then take your finger away, if you can keep your attention there, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So that's your target. So the idea then is to close your eyes and to inhale, and at the exact same time that you inhale, to lift those muscles up and in, and with the intention of pulling the mind out of the body and liberating energy, and pulling that energy all the way up into your brain. As you inhale, one slow, steady breath. Follow it from your perineum, through your lower abdomen, through your upper abdomen, through your chest, through your throat, through the brain, all the way to the top of your head. And when you get to the top of your head, hold your breath And now squeeze those muscles a little bit more and just pump that fluid up against the back of your brain and hold it. And then you exhale, relax, and feel. Now, in the beginning, when you learn anything, you have to practice it and it's mechanical. But as you keep practicing, it'll become more intuitive and less step by step. It'll become one motion. So the act is inhale at the same time, perineum, lower abdomen, upper abdomen. And as you inhale, you follow that breath all the way up through your chest, through your throat. Keep inhaling through your brain to the top of your head. When you get to the top of your head, you'll drop your shoulders down, straighten your spine, squeeze those muscles a little bit more. Put your attention on the top of your head and just push that fluid a little bit, compressing the crystals of the pineal gland. Hold for a few seconds and then relax and feel it in your brain. Now, I would recommend when you do this to play some music that has no lyrics, but has some drums or has some music that you can interpret as the movement of energy. If the energy strikes your brain, don't be afraid of it. It's just the liberation of energy. Let it happen. Take a moment, keep your eyes closed, and do it again. I would recommend 5 minutes in the beginning and work your way up to 10. Usually people who do it properly have a very significant amount of energy in their brain. We now know that this breath creates more brain coherence. It increases the amount of energy in the brain. It activates the autonomic nervous system. And our brain scans show that it stimulates the pineal gland. And those are all the important things to have a mystical experience.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is
a lot of content.
It's a lot of information and good disclaimer as well.
Yeah.
Because it takes work and energy awakenings. In the yoga tradition, they may call them Kundalini awakenings or Kundalini experiences, or just the new movement of energy can be really frightening to people and can also sometimes be discouraging if people are feeling like they're not getting it right away.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say stick with it. It sounds like you're saying that as well.
Yeah,
and train yourself into it.
It's a skill. You just practice it. And you, just like anything else, you start off like snowboarding. You got to lose a lot of muscles in the beginning, and then when you figure it out, it just starts to get really easy. And it's the same thing with this. You just got to stick with it and keep practicing.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that and for being here with me today. Look forward to having this conversation continue sometime soon.
Thank you.